we're going to talk about what it means for a graph to be symmetric with respect to the x-axis. Now, this won't happen with functions because if it's symmetric with respect to the x-axis, you would be violating the vertical line test, but we can still talk about it with graphs. So your graph is symmetric with respect to the x-axis if points with the same x values have opposite y values. So if you pick any x value, should get a pen, any x value and go up and find that point, you know, whatever that is, negative of that will also be on the graph, okay? So wherever it's up here, it'll be that same distance from the x-axis down below. Algebraically, if you replace y with negative y and then you simplify, you'll get the same thing. Okay? So, so one says, show that the graph y squared equals x is symmetric with respect to the x-axis. Now, one way I like to think about this, when it says with respect to, if you think about that as kind of a mirror, if it's a mirror image across that line, then it's symmetric. Or you could think about it, if you folded it along that line, it would match up with itself. Okay? So this says fill in the table with two different y values. So at x equals 9, so if we have y squared equals x, that would mean y squared equals 9. Well, to get y by itself, you would take the square root. And when you take a square root of a number, you actually get a positive square root and a negative square root. So y is going to be positive and negative the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. So y equals plus or minus 3. So what that means, if we went out to 9, this would be 9, 3. And this would be 9, negative 3. Okay, and the algebraic check, it says replace y with negative y and show how the equivalent equation results. So if we look at y squared equals x and we replace y with negative y, we would have negative y squared equals x. Now, when you square negative y, if you take negative y times negative y, that's like negative 1 times negative 1, which just gives us positive 1. Y times y, y squared. So negative y squared is actually equivalent to y squared. So we'd say that this is the same, just draw an arrow, as y squared equals x, which is the same thing we started with. So that's how we can tell it's symmetric with respect to the x-axis.